From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Dennis's Heating and Air Conditioning is Northern California's premier heating and air conditioning contractor. From residential housing, large commercial projects, installation to repair, sheet metal fabrication, and everything in between, we are your go-to heating and air conditioning specialist.
It's Friday evening, and of course we're getting ready to kind of get into the weekend here, and it looks like we have some beautiful weather in store for us. Hello everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Thank you so much for joining us here on Weather NorCal. You know, we still have those cool mornings and mild afternoons here this weekend, even into early next week. Now, I've been talking about the potential for some winds probably coming in around by the end of the weekend, but now it's starting to look like the models are kind of pushing it back to early next week, around Martin Luther King Jr. Day, next Tuesday, for example. We'll take a closer look at that here under deeper dive forecast. But we do have rain looking more and more promising as we get to the end of now. It looks like towards the end of next week into that next weekend. So about a week from now, we may start talking about better potential for that rain. Now, again, I've been talking about this over the last several days, but I'm seeing more and more consistency in that potential for rain, which means confidence is getting higher that we could wrap up the month of January with some wet weather. All right, let's get you into Krueger's quickcast here for your Friday, January 17th. For those of you that just want a quick look at the forecast, we take a look at tonight. Temperatures dropping down once again into the mid to upper 30s. Could see some frost for some of you, then scraping off those windshields tomorrow morning if you don't have a garage. Temperatures mainly in the 20s, although Altura is dropping down to 16 degrees tonight. And you've got those mid to upper 30s along the coast. Yeah, the coast. You could be scraping off those windshields as well for tomorrow morning. Out the door tomorrow morning, here's what we've got. Mainly sunny skies. It's a cold start. Even at 8 o'clock in the morning, still in the 30s for the valley. Could see some patchy fog in Modoc County. But look at that. In Modoc County, your temperatures are dropping down into the upper teens. So yeah, a cold start as we go into tomorrow morning. Don't really see a big well-defining feature of that ridge of high pressure. But a couple of things to take note is you do have the void of clouds over the western United States and over the eastern Pacific. These clouds are moving up and over the ridge of high pressure, but again, it's just not that well-defined arc in the clouds that we typically see. We also have a lot of moisture, actually a bit of an atmospheric river, if you will, down to our south, but it's pointed way to our south and won't impact our weather at all, really. All right, so here's what we have in store for your Saturday forecast. Temperatures in the low 60s for your daytime highs for most of us in the valley. Mainly in the 40s for the higher elevations, and really not much change really across the board. Even for the coast, you're looking at temperatures in the low 50s for your highs on Saturday. Taking a look at your 7-day outlook for the valley, low 60s. Now, we're going to see a slight increase in our temperatures come Wednesday, Thursday. But this right here, we're going from 64 to 60. This right here is the sign of some of the changes that we may start to see toward the end of next week. We'll get into that in the deeper dive forecast here in just a bit. Let's get you through the rest of your 7-day forecast across the region. And there you can see dry conditions here. Not only cooler temperatures, but maybe more clouds, especially for the coast by next Friday. Siskiyou, Modoc, and the eastern mountains. If you have that 3-day weekend, looks like you have some beautiful weather in store for you. It may drop a little bit here for Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the mountains, but then maybe going back up again, especially by next Wednesday and Thursday. All right, that's a look at Krueger's quickcast. Now let's go into your deeper dive forecast. But before we do that, I want to remind you, there is a free Weather NorCal app. It's awesome, everybody, because here's the thing. It's hyper local. It's all about Northern California. There are a lot of apps out there, but a lot of them coming from AI. There's no personal touch coming from a local meteorologist such as myself. So check it out. If you don't like it, take it off your phone. You don't have to use it ever again. But I think you're going to really like it because everything I have to offer, from the 24-hour streaming channel to the regular video updates like the one that you're watching right now, to the neighborhood forecast, to the special programming such as Turtle Bay Wonderful World of Animals, Pet of the Week, Ag Report, they're all right here available on the app. So check it out, free. Just search for Weather NorCal in your app store and you're good to go. All right, let's get into that deeper dive forecast. Once again, we'll start off with that satellite image. Again, not that defining ridge of high pressure, but it's there. You can see the kind of the progression of these clouds moving up and over the ridge. You see a little bit of a spin of low pressure. That's going to kind of sit and spin kind of here for the next several days through the weekend. And once again, you've got that night atmospheric river down to our south, but it's not impacting us, not even impacting Southern California. Now look at tomorrow. The winds may pick up a little bit out of the north at about 15, maybe 20 miles per hour for parts of the valley. So maybe a little bit more breezy than it has been for parts of the valley. Then by Sunday, those winds died down. Looks like a beautiful day. But it looks like by the time we get into Monday, Tuesday of next week, that may change. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So again, remember I was talking about that area of low pressure I was pointing out on the satellite image? There it is. It's just kind of hovering here off to our south and west. In the meantime, we still got this nice ridge of high pressure right here. But notice through the weekend, you see these tightly packed isobars? This is where we have stronger winds. Pacific Northwest, Idaho, Montana, right? All of these, this area right here, seeing the stronger winds. We're in the outer fringes of that. So yes, the winds may elevate a little bit over the weekend, but it's really not until, say, Monday, Tuesday of next week that we might see a better chance for some winds. And let me show you what I'm talking about. You see this right here? This is a little dip in the jet stream. This is a disturbance. This is showing signs of a bit of an inside slider. So as we see these disturbances kind of ride from our north down to the south and east, you tend to see those winds pick up. Pretty classic setup for us. So yeah, Monday, Tuesday, a little breezy, borderline windy, but nothing major, no major wind events, bottom line. All right, so you'll notice still looking at dry conditions. Now I've got my eyes off to the west here because this storm system, all of this activity here is going to be inching closer to us, but it's still having a hard time moving in through next week. As we go into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, big prominent ridge of high pressure, right? So the storms can't push through. But check this out. Now, I typically don't go out this far, but I'm going to take it one day out further than I typically do because I want to show you that a week from this upcoming Saturday, look at that. This is most likely not going to be the way it spells out and kind of pans out, but this is the first sign that we're starting to see of that transition from the dry, warm conditions to more of a wet pattern moving in near the end of next week. So as we start wrapping up the month of January, fingers crossed, and hopefully this all kind of pans out, but we may be looking at that potential for some more wet weather making its way back in the forecast. A welcomed sight. Now, the Climate Prediction Center is still not 100% going on board with this, keeping us in the drier than normal conditions through January 27th. But again, you saw that. There's that potential for some of that rain moving in. Oh, let's hope that happens. All right, here's a look at your wave heights. Going into your Saturday, they're not going to be changing much. Looks like they're not going to change much going into your Sunday either. However, that all being said, I do need to mention, and I don't have it on the map here, but there is a beach hazards statement for Saturday through Monday. Beach hazard statement along the coast, what does that mean? It means there's that risk for sneaker waves, so just be aware of that here if you're going to be on the beaches over the weekend, especially Saturday, Sunday, Monday. All right, there you can see temperatures in the mid to upper 30s for the valley. I've got 20s tonight. It's even dropping down to the teens for places like Alturas. There you can see even for the coast, you're looking at mid to upper 30s. So a lot of you probably be scraping off those windshields early in the morning. There you can see your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, 53 degrees for Lewiston, 55 in Hayfork, 56 degrees out in Ruth. We take you out to the north coast, looking at about 57 out in Blue Lake, 58 for Alder Point, and 53 degrees in Eureka. Let's take you up north with about 57 degrees in Gasquet, 61 for Orleans, and 54 degrees for McKinleyville. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast looks like mainly in the 40s. Some of the warmer spots like Happy Camp at about 54 degrees. Your Modoc County neighborhood forecast mainly in the 40s here, although a little bit chilly out in Cedarville with about 37, 39 in Fort Bidwell, and 41 degrees for California Pines. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, 30s, 40s, 50s, just depending on where you are. Look for a high of about 51 degrees for Greenville, 55 in Shingletown, a little bit warmer in Paradise at 56 degrees for your Saturday. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamuth Painting. Those temperatures, upper 50s to about 60 degrees for that daytime high on Saturday. Look for a high of 62 degrees for Reading, 61 for Anderson, 61 for the city of Shasta Lake, and 59 degrees in Whiskeytown. Here's a look at your 7-day outlook for Reading. Yeah, there are those temperatures basically around 60 degrees, give or take, through Tuesday. Now again, a slight increase in our temperatures for Wednesday, Thursday. And again, I want to point this out here. You see how temperatures are starting to drop a little bit as we go into Friday. Remember, I was talking about that potential that not this Saturday, but a week from Saturday, we might be talking about the potential for some wet weather for parts of Northern California. And this right here, with the cooler temperatures showing signs of that change, is something we'll be watching here very closely. Well, that is your evening update. Thanks so much for watching. Of course, I will be off over the weekend, but meteorologist Chase Wilson will be here to give you and keep you updated with the latest on the forecast throughout the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Until then, have a great evening and have a great weekend.
Caltrans is doing the best that they can with the amount of people and the amount of equipment they have, and they're out there trying to keep the roads safe and trying to keep everybody running, because if the roads shut down, truck drivers that are paid by the miles aren't making any money. So we want everybody to put chains on for the safety of themselves and the safety of the public. It's not worth it to drive without chains.